Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, and yet again, another skeleton crew today, as unfortunately, while I am moving countries right now, I realize that I won't be able to get internet in my new apartment, so I'm actually back in Helsinki, Finland for the time being, with a skeleton crew here, just a good old Mike, the old-fashioned way, just by the word of mouth, and for the next few days, unfortunately, this will have to be what it is, but with that said, of course, it is Friday, so I want to wish you a very happy and special Friday, a very safe and Safu special on Friday as well, and of course, wish you the best, the happiest of the happiest, as I always like to say. Let's waste no more time getting live scene as Bitcoin's making all kinds of moves, and there we go, teleportation initiated, and here we are. Bitcoin sticking its head above that 6,300-ish level, the level that we've been looking for quite some time. In fact, let me go over here to the daily. There we go. And overall, this is what we're looking at. Bitcoin, again, I always want to start with this daily dodo time frame just because you can make trading as easy for yourself as you allow it to be. And right here, you have a beautiful setup in your, right in your face. We had the golden cross between the green 55 exponential and the purple 200 exponential moving average right over here. And ever since then, once Bitcoin got above all major moving averages after getting reaccumulated at this 5150-ish level, just been upwards and onwards. Just a very beautiful, smooth sailing. And overall, this is the power of using exponential moving averages, just because they do help get you and keep you in these nice trending moves, which is essentially what I've been doing. Now, with that said, to have full transparency, I've actually scaled out of my longs here. Now, while I do think that Bitcoin could very easily have another, $100, maybe even $200 move to the upside here, overall, this is kind of in my zone, and I'd rather be protective of the gains that of the gains that I've had for the past couple months or so now, as Bitcoin's been very generous with the way that it's been playing, and overall, we are kind of heading into this first major area where I'd actually be looking for a legitimate pullback. As you can see, looking at the volume profile, we are actually pretty much at the next highest value node, right around the 6,400-ish level. Yes, we came about, $80 shy, but close enough is close enough. And like I said, right now I'm in protection mode, especially, given my own personal perspectives. I'm moving countries right now, so I don't really want to be having like huge open positions or anything like that. In fact, I'd rather just be very small or have no position at all. And again, making trading easy for yourself. That's all you have to do. Just play the higher time frames right here, and it'll be as easy as you allow it to be, is what I like to say. Anyways, looking at our daily oscillators, we do see daily Stokes actually getting way up there. Again, just another warning sign saying, hey, this is not the time to be getting greedy. I actually did put on a little bit of a scalp short in this region. Let me see if I can bring up my my Dribbit as Bitcoin actually sells off just a little bit here, and there we go. Yeah, just this position down here. So I basically closed off my long position once we got to about 6250-ish area. These June contracts do trade at like $100 discount, as you can see. They're trading at 6,200 even right now, whereas spot's trading about 6,300. But I do want to be transparent with this, as I have been showing it through the whole way, and basically just corralling these positions in while putting on a little bit of a short now, as I just sold, I believe I sold 6180. Yeah, there we go. So 6180, and going back on over here. That's about $20 below right now, so a little bit underwater on that one, but that's okay. Going to be playing the higher time frames on this one, and like I said, very easy to manage risk on this one if this one does decide to go against me. If we start closing, some hourly dollars above this 6,300-ish level right here, I'll be happy to take that position off and perhaps try a little bit higher, as I do believe, regardless, that this is likely the area where we do find a little bit of turbulence. And again, am I saying that I'm bearish off this? No, absolutely not. I mean, this is bullish right here, no doubt about this. But looking for a pullback, I do believe it's the next kind of big move, so to speak. So again, it's been a nice up move, Jesus Christ, we had a beautiful consolidation right over here, and then about another 13.5% move. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd rather be protective here rather than anything else. So I want to be very clear about that. The target pretty much has been hit, I'd say. And now I would I'm really just looking to take in profits. So again, that's my perspective. I don't I'm not saying that that's right or wrong for anyone else. That's for you to decide. I can only share what I'm doing and why I'm thinking what I'm thinking, and then you can decide if that's relevant to you or not. Anyways, okay, so while we're on here on the daily RSI, again, just another little bit of a warning sign that it's the next time that we put in a local high, we will have some pretty nasty bearish divergence here. Now, are we in danger of putting a local high right now? No, absolutely not, actually. actually. In fact, it's going to take at least another 24 hours, or sorry, at least another daily dodo to be set in stone before we can even confirm, at the very earliest, a local high, and not have to be had by, trading back down below 6,100, the low of this current dildo, and then we could maybe create a tweezer top. But overall, this is more crystal ball type thinking. I just want to show that it's not necessarily at the fore. It's certainly on, on the horizon, but it's not like, within the more immediate future, so to speak. So again, that does offer up the possibility for a little bit more continuation here. Like I said, 6,400 would kind of be the upper echelon of this move of what I'm looking for, just mainly just based off the volume profiles, as we showed right over here. Right, you have that nice thick volume node coming in right around 6,400 even. But also you can notice that is pretty much where Bitcoin did break down from in early November of 2018. So overall, it's going to be a point of contention most likely. Now, again, I want to briefly speak about why 6,000 was never really a major consideration in my mind. I know a lot of people are looking at 6,000 and, trying to short it and do all that kind of stuff. Well, that's exactly why we went to 6,300 so far, because all the genius is trying to short the 6,000 level, just a nice psychological number, which really doesn't hold all that much weight, because really 5850 and 6,400 are kind of like the big areas in my mind. What typically happens, we overshoot it or it gets front ran. Well, in this case, we're going to overshoot it, as this market is a little bit more optimistic right now, especially going on over here into the crypto fear and greed index. You do see that we are ticking out of 71 right now, which is actually one of the highest that we've seen it in the past year. In fact, I do believe that this is the highest that we've seen it for about a year. Yeah, the only other time that we've been at 71 was right here, actually in early April, coming off that major massive $1,000 move from 4,000 to 5,000. So overall, Bitcoin, the community really finding some comfort in these more optimistic levels, and I do think that the fear and greed index is taking on a new meaning now, and that essentially means that no longer is anything above like a 50 read on this a sell or like a major top being put in. We're likely to have to travel a little bit higher to really get those sorts of signals now. So overall, I really do want to speak about this for a second here, because it does hold weight. Yes, it's not my first way of doing things, but it is, it is a nice secondary type confirmation tool. And as you can see right here, and sorry if I'm actually holding this mic right now, so maybe I'm doing a poor job. Please do let me know if the sound is annoying, if my raspy lesbian voice is just absolutely destroying your ears, or if it sounds okay. But overall, for the past year, when Bitcoin was in a more bearish territory, we did see basically a descending triangle on the crypto fear and greed index. You see these lower highs and kind of a flat support coming in down around the 10 marker, and each and every time that the oscillator got above a 50 read, that's when we were putting in major tops. Well, for the past 3 months, we've been having a lot of comfort in this zone without any sort of like major pullbacks. I mean, in fact, just going on over here into the charts once again, putting on the weekly has been unable to take out the prior week's low for literally what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're working on 7 weeks now, and I'd say that we're pretty likely to have an eighth. So this is pretty damn powerful, as far as as far as I'm concerned. So. To me, we're likely to find, like, we're basically creating a new segment over here. So we're showing how the sentiments are changing with regards to price action, and actually keeping it more in the neutral zone. I'd consider this neutral anywhere between 40 and 60, and then above 60 is where we're going to start to be a little bit more in the too happy zone, a little bit too optimistic, and then below 40 is going to be a little bit too bearish. Well, we're kind of like in a decision phase right now. Overall, I'd say that we're more neutral than anything. So overall, well, then again, I say that we're more neutral than anything. Hold on. There's nothing fucking neutral about this. This is bullish as fuck. There's nothing neutral about this. This is bullish as fuck. There's nothing neutral about this. This is also bullish as fuck. I mean, look at this. The 3-day dildo closed a very, very girthy and powerful dildo above 6,000, actually closing 61.56 and 70 cents on Bitstamp. I mean, that's big news. We're likely to spend some time in the 6,000s now. While I do think that Bitcoin is kind of due for a pullback, I don't, do we actually break 6,000 to the downside? I think that we're going to actually find some comfort in there. Looking at our 2-day though, while we are here, remember the 2-day 200 simple, this white moving average right here, that was taken out yesterday. That was my impetus for saying, hey, we're likely to have continuation here. And well, a few $100s later, hitting that first major target. Bringing up our 2-day Oscars, we do see 2-day Stokes pointing to the upside. And again, this was why I was getting bullish for another move up right over here, and why I was adding to my long positions right over here, just because we're seeing the 2-day Stokes cross the upside as we approach a major moving average. And not only this, but historically speaking, this white 200 simple moving average on the 2-day digital time frame is actually a very tangible figure for judging if we're generally bullish or generally bearish. You do see that when we lost it in 2014, that was when all hell broke loose to massive red dildos being thrown down. And once we broke it back up to the upside, I mean, that was perfect timing of your bullish momentum. Now, am I suggesting the same thing over here, that because we've cleared it, we're 100% in the clear? No, absolutely not. I really want to remove myself from the discussion of, is the low in or not. I think that it's inappropriate as a trader, just because as a trader you have to be able to make money in dynamic environments. It does not matter if the market's moving up or down or fucking sideways. You have to be able to make money if you want to do this as a living in all sorts of dynamic situations. And for myself, do I think that the low is in? Fundamentally, it looks pretty likely. Technically, though, I'd still be questionative of it. Certainly not the most picture perfect low of all time, but hey, at the end of the day, man, this is why I trade technical analysis. This is not my opinion. I've been long since 3,900, added at 5,150, and added at 5,800, and now actually taking profits on a lot of these positions, as I've shown right over here. I'm actually a little bit net short right now. Very, 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 very small position. I'll probably manage risk on this if we do close an hourly dildo above 6,300, and then I'll actually reposition a little bit higher, as I'd probably imply that we do take the full on stab towards 64, maybe even 64.50. So again, that's kind of what I feel right now. After a big move like this, I think it is quite unlikely that that price actually just falls down. No, what's more likely is that we actually grind the top here if we are going to be putting in a top. So this is very low time frames. Let's go have some fun on the lower time frames right now. But overall, this was another big thing that we were looking at, right? This rising trend line that had been governing all of the highs ever since early April, right? Getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, highs along the way. Well, look what happened yesterday. We broke out above it. We saw our first hourly dildo close above it. This was when I was recording the video yesterday. We came back down, retested at 59.50, just as we said that was, likely to turn into support. And then from there, rocketing off. Just absolutely beautiful. And again, I don't say these things to sound arrogant or anything like that. That's not my intention. I'm just, I'm just showing you how over time these things work, and now you can use it for yourself. Use it for fucking good, man. That's what this is all about. So again, looking at this, I would look for this area to be kind of like an actionable figure as well, right around this. Well, it's kind of like rising up, right? But currently it would be a little bit like a hair below 6,000, but it will be rising over time, and that'll be kind of like the lever, I suppose you could say, for the lower time frames. As long as we hold this, generally bullish from a higher time frame perspective, mediated by the lower time frames, and of course, always have to separate the low time frames from the medium time frames from the high and the macro time frames, and that also means, more importantly, if we actually do break this area around, which I'll just refer to as 6,000, then we're likely to come down much further, probably back down to about 5,500, 5,600-ish base. So I don't think that that's happening like anytime soon, really, but just understand that this area is quite important and quite powerful. Now, of course, I shouldn't say 55 to 5,600. 5,800 is going to be very, very important, just because that is where the 2-day 200 simple is. So we will likely, if we do come back down, that's going to be the first major test, and that's coming in again 5,800 and in flatline. And more importantly, you do see this 200 simple actually not just get it's kind of got a neutral slope now. So my point is that it's no longer negatively sloped, or at least certainly not as aggressively as it was before. Let's go on to the 2-hour dildo time frame. What do we have here? 2-hour Stokes getting way up there. Sorry, we forgot to cover the hourly. Hourly actually getting way up there, and actually wanted to cross down. The hourly Stokes have been really fucking good. There has been basically a cheat code with the hourly Stokes recently, where they've just gotten the moves right. When they cross, nice move incoming. It's actually been that simple. Jewel aside, the hourly Stokes have probably been one of the better indicators right now. Hourly RSI not really telling us too much. Will be easy to create some divergence here if we fail to make a higher high relatively soon. So again, that's why I'm a little bit more defensive in this area. But still has to confirm itself. We don't necessarily have that just yet. 2 hour, same thing right over here. 4 hour, what do we have here? 4 hour Stokes getting way up there. That's okay. Again, still looking a little bit like continuation, but we will be closing this dildo in 40 minutes and 15 seconds. So if we do close anywhere below about 62.80 on Bit Mexico, perhaps you could maybe look at that as a little bit of a doji dildo, but overall, kind of a lack of volume on this one. I would be hesitant to put too much weight on it to begin with. Looking at 4 hour RSI, gonna be easy to create some divergence here as well. That's the thing, is we're kind of we're running against time. The second that we confirm a local high, there's going to be an avalanche of consequences that go from the lower time frames to the higher time frames, because an hourly is not going to have too much weight, but the hourly is going to lead on into the 4 hour, which is going to likely inside a test back down to about 60, maybe 6100, or 50, somewhere around there. And then if that happens, then that has carry on over into like a 12 hour, which is going to start to confirm a little bit of a local high as well, and that would likely drag price down to maybe 6,000. So understand how all these things relate to each other, and of course, but for right now, looks okay actually. Looking at the 6 hour still getting up there, still getting very wrecked. 6 hour RSI looking fine as well. These other time frames here haven't been too helpful. Let's go to the 12 hour though. 12 hour has been very good. 12 hour still up, but again in the critical zone. Doesn't like to stay here for too long typically, so this is the time to be, in my opinion, defensive. And same thing with the 12 hour RSI. The second that we confirm a local top, which again is actually time-wise not even possible to happen anytime soon, that's going to incite a test back down to actually somewhere down around here most likely. But the longer that Bitcoin kind of goes sideways or even up in this current area, the more and more time that these moving averages will have to catch up, and then we'll actually be able to not have to go as far down to maintain the bullish momentum while still kind of letting things cool off. And that's how you get your nice uptrends, by the way. That's how you get these very prolonged uptrends where you have this nice ebb and flow with price action and in these moving averages. Anyways, looking at the going back to the daily, we already kind of talked about this. Let's go over here to the 3-day. 3-day Stokes still way up there. Again, just another thing saying, hey, be cautious. It's not necessarily a signal just yet. We haven't even seen them cross down, but this area, this more critical area above the 80 marker has called some very nasty drops. And, this is your 20,000 drop from December 2017. This is your 10,000 drop from May 2018, and 8,400 drop from August in 2018 as well. And then once again, we're really getting deep and comfortable in this range, but historically speaking, does not typically last too long. Now, here's the thing. Overall, I would actually make the case that even if Bitcoin does pull back here, we probably overall still get more continuation to the upside. And why do I say that? Because I'm looking at the 3-day Joule, which, again, has been extremely accurate with calling major tops and major bottoms. When it flashes green, that's been our bottom so far at 3,100. When it flashed green over here, that was the bottom at 150 in 2015. Well, when it flashes red, it typically calls these pretty nasty tops. Some very, 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 very aggressive, like 70% move down, 70% move down right over here, but for the most part, these ones are typically around like 30 to 40% if we measure them out right here, 40% right here, 40% right here, 30%. And you kind of get the idea, right? So I won't bore you with the details, but we actually recently did signal red. Although here's the thing, on this red signal, we never really got too deep into this critical territory. In fact, you'll notice on these more aggressive ones, we got very, very deep, almost to the 90 marker, whereas on this one, we just got to just barely an 82. And that does signal the strength of the actual, intended sell-off afterwards. And we actually do have just one example of it getting very shallow into this critical zone before. It's right over here in 2016, where Bitcoin actually did, it actually did have a little bit of a down move, about 11.5% down move. Well, we did something very similar right over here on this past one, about almost 12% down move. But overall, if we go back to that one right over here, we will see that price action afterwards did cool off, and it caught the pink support and got walked up into the more critical zone, confluent with all those very nasty drop-offs, and that's when we got this move right over here, which actually ended up, just continuing on for more. But this, again, let me remind you, was a very aggressive 35% drop, so not very pretty. Anyways, my point is that I think Bitcoin is likely to get walked up by this pink right here, and we're likely to actually make our way into the more critical zone, and that's where we put in like an actual very nasty top where we'll probably have a 30 to 40% pullback. Now, how high can price action get by the time that the light blue oscillator gets into this area? I mean, it can do a lot of damage, man. This is a 3-day dildo time frame, so each and every tick is 3 days worth of price action, and it's gonna still take some time to get there. So is a 7,000 target legitimate? Is that reasonable? Actually, kind of. Yes, it actually kind of is. It can get pretty crazy here. I mean, also this on the 3-day, we do have the yellow 21 exponential moving average crossing the upside of the green 55 exponential moving average. Well, the last time that we had that was, well, right over here in 2014, 2015, actually calling the reversal from about $280 price per Bitcoin all the way up to $20,000 price per Bitcoin. So again, this is one of those things where we can very easily have a pretty massive leg up here, and still have a nasty correction. And still, I mean, if we were to make it up to 7,000, just for argument's sake, and have a 30 to 40% drop down, a 35% drop down would put us right back down at this base at 4,600. That's actually completely fine from a technical analysis standpoint. If we were to have, a more aggressive 40%, that would just put us at 4150 to 4,200. Well, what's at 4150 to 4,200? That's a 200 exponential on the weekly, which is now sloped to the upside. So all these things coming into confluence with each other, it really does, like from a technical analysis standpoint, it actually does start to paint a more rosy picture of the bottom potentially being in, just because even with these very nasty potential dropbacks, we still have to work our way through the 200 exponential on the weekly. Which, if you're not familiar with this, it's kind of like your general guide of are we bullish or are we bearish? From hedge funds are going to be using something like this. They're going to be they're going to be de-risking positions based upon where you are in relation to the 200 exponential and 200 simple. Anyways, the 200 exponential is about is about $500 above the 200 simple, and it's only the 200 simple that I'd actually be looking for to trade for new lows. So as far as my discussion into making new lows, it's not really as a trader, it's not really a topic of discussion until we actually break. Well, first things first, the 200 exponential moving average right over here, which is 4150, almost 4200, and then I'll take trades for new lows when we break the 200 simple, which is about 4600 right now. Or sorry, not 46, but 36. Bad slip of tongue right there. Anyways, I need to take a sip of this water, man. I'm damn thirsty. Alrighty, there we go. Might actually be de-risking off this. Ooh, my bad. Might actually be de-risking off this position relatively soon. And again, I'm happy to try a position here just because I don't really see too much harm in doing it. Made money up all the way through this, all the way since 3,900. I'm willing to try a little bit of a preliminary position here, even though I do think it's a little bit aggressive right now. I think it's worth it for a small position, and can always reposition higher if this one doesn't work out. So I just wanted to show those higher time frames and kind of where we might find ourselves as this whole situation unfolds. The higher that Bitcoin gets on this next run, though, the better. That really is the main thing. Going over here to the weekly, we do see the weekly moving averages actually having some good crossovers. We have a bullish cross between the red 10 simple and the yellow 21. After this consolidation, beautiful, exactly what I want to see. On top of that, we do see the green 55 and the cyan 89 converging on each other after getting a bearish cross over here. So that's telling us that the bearish trend is loosening on itself. And actually, once we cross these guys to the upside, this is going to become a pretty strong base as well, somewhere around the 5350 to 5400ish area, which is going to be what as well if we go on here to the weekly. It's going to be that 50 simple that everyone was going crazy about, right? Yeah, which is coming in right around about 5,400. This red represented by the red moving average here. So Bitcoin, if it does come back down, the big areas of interest are going to be about 5,800, then 5,400 to 5,350, and then about 4,500 and 4,200. So all those areas are going to be the big pivots as far as the macro picture goes. Lower time frames, obviously these things change around multiple times per day, but that is more set in stone, I'd say. And we actually see the changing of the winds. If we broke through 5,350, we'd see some major changes overall. If we broke through 4,200, major changes to the actual structure. But for now, Bitcoin actually doing some pretty damn good work, and does deserve respect. So let's go over here to CMEs. What are CMEs doing? CMEs looking good, man. Getting in the same kind of resistance territory. I'd say 6,500 is going to be like the next really big area, and it's going to be like a it's going to be a zone, right? It's not going to be just a static area, but between about what is it, 64 and 65 actually on CMEs, which are trading at a little bit of a premium right now, a small premium, not much, but I'm going to put in a blue box right here just in case, as it does look a little bit more and more likely that we actually do make it into that area. Looking at this right here, let's go to the weekly. Weekly 50 simple and 50 exponential getting taken off. 50 exponential is getting actually slacked right now. Whoops, let me, whoops. Hey, come on, you fuck. God damn it. There we go. Sorry about that. My autistic rage is coming out right now. Let me put back on the 10 simple here. There we go. Okay, great. And yeah, as you can see here, not really too, no real major differences between this and spot. We do see weekly Stokes get way up there, just like spot is as well. Areas that we haven't seen since December 2017. So again, it's it is more appropriate to be cautious here, in my opinion, than not. Let's go back to CMEs for a second. Is there anything to be aware of on the daily that we don't see on the other charts? We do see daily Stokes getting way up there. In fact, again, kind of in the more critical zone, which it actually has never even, I don't think it's ever really been this high, except for one point over here in April. So this was a run to 10,000, I believe. Yes, 10,000 right over here. So again, historically speaking, Bitcoin doesn't usually stay up this long without a little bit of a pullback. Looking at daily RSI, again, going to be very easy to create some divergence, but we need to confirm a local high first. It's not really too many differences between these charts. Go check out GBDC. GBDC taking a leg up and just kind of following, and this kind of solidifies my opinion of it being a follower, not a leader. So again, looking at something like that. Is it too helpful to be looking at right now? I mean, its kind of use case before was just to get the future moves on spot charts. Well, we're not really getting that anymore. It looks to me like it's just following. So again, GBDC not all that helpful here, but is following through with the rest of the market. So it's still kind of on par with Bitcoin, I suppose. Let's go look at some shorts and longs. We have about almost 32,000 open shorts versus almost 19,000 open longs. So both actually longs added a little bit, shorts took off a little bit. We have about 4,000 of these guys hedged, so we really have a little under 28,000 open naked shorts versus 19,000 open longs. So these are converging on each other a little bit. I do want to denote that a lot of people are getting long, Are a lot of people getting long here? No, actually not really. Longs are pretty stagnant as far as the actual price action goes. This is not too helpful. The longs chart has actually really not been too helpful. I don't really feel like Bitcoin follows it in the way that you'd expect it to. The shorts chart, however, does seem to make a lot of sense. And in the shorts chart, we see actually people starting to let go of their positions now, just a little bit, but the first like 1,000 or so. But it's it's the first kind of pullback that we've seen since just April 21st. April 22nd. And again, I don't think that you can't make charting formations on this. You can't do exponentials. You can't do RSI. You can't do fucking TD sequential. The people out there who are doing these things are silly. They are very, very naive. And, not to say anything directly to people, but it's just, when people send me this stuff, like we have bearish divergence on Bitcoin shorts, RSI. It's like, no, these are very incomplete pieces of the whole. You can't really do that. And it's not going to act that way. And if you don't need me to tell you, because you're going to get wrecked pretty fucking soon enough. Sorry. Don't mean to be mean today. Jesus Christ, Krown. God damn it. But overall, a lot of people getting short over here. They're starting to let their positions go. So de-risking in this area, could that be the next push that we need to get maybe into the 64, maybe even 65? It's possible. I mean, it is really possible here. Depending upon how we close this hourly, if we close this hourly above 6,300, I'm going to take off my very small short position, and probably re-aim a little bit higher, maybe even go a little bit long again. But this is starting to get a little bit more extended, so I'm not in any rush to really put this on. Anyways, okay, cool. So, what else we got? Let's go check out Mr. Buterol. Mr. Buterol having the same sort of follow through that we're looking on in Mr. Bitcoin. We see the 200 exponential moving average taken out, both open and closed above yesterday, and today being used to rally off of. Really like that move, and I do think that this one does try higher, as we spoke about the other day. Going to take its time, but I'd imagine next target's going to be about 182 on BitMexico if we put on our drawing tools. Yeah, somewhere right around here, I'd imagine. And what is this? 180, 181. Okay, so 181, and then above 181, I'd be saying the next area is going to be somewhere right around here, around 193, and then the full target's going to be somewhere like 204, somewhere in this region. Overall, Mr. Buterow, I think, wants to join the rest of the market, as the rest of the market's kind of been, having a lot of fun, and Mr. Buterow not so much. Daily Stokes still up and got plenty of overhead flying space. Daily RSI actually looks healthy, actually does look constructive here, and I do think that is getting ready, man. I do think that's ready. More importantly, the weekly looks good as well. The weekly wants to take a leg up. In fact, the weekly is the one that I'd say, from a higher time frame perspective, does want to actually take a leg up, probably into the 200 region. Now, lower time frames, it's going to take some time, right? But we do see lower time frames kind of following through, and there Bitcoin goes. All right, looking like I'm going to be forced out of my position, but that's okay. That's why it's just a little bit of a startup position. And I think tentatively, I'll say I'll probably hold off on doing anything else. Jesus Christ, man, there we go. I'll probably hold off on doing anything else. Until I see like some sort of divergence on preferably like a 4-hour chart would look good. I don't think I'll go long here again. I'll leave my account exposed, or sorry, my account's value exposed, which is completely fine. But again, this is the time to be a little bit more measured, in my opinion. Okay, so we checked out all of that. Let me go back and check out Mrs. Litecoin. What's she doing? What's Mrs. Litecoin doing? Yep, joining the party as well. There she goes. Not bad. Mrs. Litecoin taking a leg up, and I do believe that we're going to see that full target of $82 hit. Relatively soon, probably in the next few days. Assuming that Mrs. Litecoin closes above 74.5 today, which I think that she does. And what's up? Who is that? M. Delante, good to meet you, ma'am. Yeah, I do think that Mrs. Litecoin does move up as well. Tags this like $82-ish region. We do see Daily Stokes technically down right now, but looking weak to me. And the price action looks like it wants to take a leg up. Looking at the RSI, we caught wind of the exponential. So yeah, I would say that certainly it's more likely that we do see a little bit higher here. I'd say $81.50 to $82 most likely. What about the weekly on this one? Weekly's really fighting here. If the weekly can actually take out the prior week's high, $81.50. I'd say that from a higher time frame perspective, we probably would have a target much higher, right around $90 or a little bit north of $90. So again, this is kind of a big point of contention for Mrs. Litecoin, as if she actually can maintain this next daily little close above this $74.50 region, I would be a little bit more longer term bullish on her. But for right now, looking good. We basically had a nice parabolic. I mean, it's kind of similar to Bitcoin, right? We got the golden cross right over here, major consolidation, big move up. I mean, this is deceivingly not as big as it really is. I mean, this is a 70% move right here. That's fucking massive. And come back down to base on the 377, boom, up, and then there you go. Very constructive over a long period of time, and that's kind of that's exactly what you want to see. But it does take its time, right? That's the whole thing. It's like it tests your patience, which I feel like a lot of people are having right now. A lot of people have been reaching out to me, about jumping all in and all that kind of stuff. And hey, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. All that good stuff. All I can say is, hey, have your areas where you know that you're going to take action of, have a plan, and then stick to your plan. And that's going to really get rid of all these pesky emotions, especially if you can write it down as well. It really helps to write things down and separate those emotions on paper from your actual being. Anyways, go back on, check on the other top shitcoins. What do we got over here? Cardano. I think Cardano's finally put in a little bit of a local low. I do think that this one does bounce pretty heftily from here. Wow, this one got all the way down to my 930-ish level. I actually did not think it was going to hit on this one. I thought that it was probably going to bounce somewhere a little bit higher, right around 1,000 Satoshi. But hey, this is why I don't trade these things. And overall, weekly is still bearish, but I do think that we bounce here, and we probably bounce back up, maybe as high as like 1,100 Satoshis. Maybe make that like 1,200 actually. 1,150 to 1,200 is kind of where I'd be looking for, but we do have a death cross on the daily right now. We're below all major moving averages, so after a little bit of a bounce, I would be looking for this one to actually resume prior trend most likely. Very, 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 very nasty chart. While I do think that it bounces here, this is in no way, shape, or form a good chart. I know that people don't like it when I look at the Bitcoin pairing. It's like if the Bitcoin pairing looks bad, Krown, look at the dollar pairing. It looks good. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that one matters more as well. But yeah, and I think that this one does look better. I think that it does bounce a little bit higher, probably back over to 7 cents, maybe even as high as 7.5 cents. But I do think that it gets faded there. Weekly is bearish on this one, man. No matter which way you cut it, weekly is bearish. I mean, unless if we can close the weekly above, if we can close the weekly above 7 cents, that would not be bearish. That would be bullish. That would actually be quite bullish. But I think that that's quite unlikely. I think that this is just another lower high in a series of lower highs and lower lows. Let's go check out BNB cone coming back down to that weekly support. I don't think that's going to hold this time. I do not think that is going to hold this time. I think that we're actually going to come lower now, $17 and about 40 cents and such. You know, I really wanted to see this area hold it up if this was going to be the bounce area. We got an initial bounce, but no follow through on top of that. So I'm going to be, I think that I said that it was probably going to bounce more from this area. I'm going to be wrong on that. Well, at least for now. I mean, it's more likely to come down here now. I'd say towards this 17 and a quarter-ish area. Looking at the weekly. Next weekly support's down around $15 and $15.50. Don't quite think that we go down there on this run though. I think that we're likely to, you know, whether we bounce off the current area that we're at or we head a little bit lower to this next target and bounce off there. These two areas, I do think give it a little bit more time. We do start to fill out the higher teens and lower 20s once again. Zcash more on the bear side for sure. And this is kind of interesting now. So we're really seeing a bifurcation in the market. We're seeing some things that are very obviously bullish and some things that are not. Zcash would be one of the ones that is not. It's certainly not. Looking nowhere near like the rest of this market. In fact, this one just struggling to it's making lows off this run right here. Going off the weekly. Weekly looks like continuation of the downside. Weekly is continuation of the downside. Look at this. Weekly Stokes crossing down. This is back to the daily, and I think that we do come down to this next support, down around $54.50. The question is, does that one hold? I would say, based off the weekly, probably not. Probably not. A daily RSI has plenty of room to go as well. Bcash, what's Bcash doing? I think Bcash is one of the stronger ones. Again, not a fundamental statement, but just going on straight off charts. We do see 200 exponential moving average right here, right around 296, still being the impetus for resistance. I do think that it breaks it. Looks and reminds me a lot of Mr. Buterol's chart, and I do think that at that point we'll have a target somewhere around 320 and then 330, 335, we'll call it. And I do think that this one actually works this way higher overall. Weekly looks okay, and from a higher time frame perspective, I would say that 380 is kind of the longer term target. Tron, wow, really struggling. Jesus Christ, man, holy fuck. Okay, so did we hit my 2.7 target? Nope, I'm going to be wrong on this one. Yep, so this one a little bit more on the weaker side, but I do think that it does bounce here, to be fair. This one, I was looking for to actually take out the 200 exponential when it just got completely rejected from it, shreked from it, and I do think that we trade back up and test 2.46. But again, we're seeing bifurcation in the market for the very first time, actually. This is quite interesting. We do see daily Stokes actually cross back to the downside, so I do think that this bounce does get faded. Weekly is going to be the main decider, though. Does weekly close above or below 2.43? If it closed below, I'm bearish for a move down, much lower towards 2 cent even. If we close above, then I'm bullish for a move towards that 2.7 target. Neo, losing my voice, man. There we go. Raspy lesbian turning into a prepubescent teen. Oh, and Bitcoin taking off. Is it taking off? There we go. Yep. Okay, 63.31 on my other screen right over here. And I've actually just closed my position. Okay, so Neo. Yeah, Neo more on the bear side as well. Definitely on the more bear side. I do think that it bounces from here and pops back up and tests 965-ish area. But I'm, overall, the higher time frames are bearish, and weekly just looks like continuation. I mean, lower highs and lower lows. And make no mistake, this is what the real chart looks like. I mean, this is a fucking pump and dump right here. That is not good. To me, weekly support's somewhere down. Well, we kind of already, we already hit it 840. That 840 target was hit. For full disclosure, this is what we had over here, and I do think that we bounce off this area. But overall, I don't know how high this bounce gets. Maybe like 960. Not looking too strong. All right, let's get on to EOS. EOS, same thing. Wow, getting shreked as well. So all these ones, some of these guys traded with Bitcoin, some did not, some really did not, and I was not here for the most of the day yesterday, so I really didn't get to see this firsthand. Now I do think that this one bounced here. This is obviously way too late to say this, way too fucking late to say this, but I do think that it bounced here, and I do think that we test actually back up to like 520 maybe. Weekly. Going to depend on where the weekly it closes. If the weekly closed below 466, very bearish, probably back down to 369. If the weekly closes above, 469, 470, I'd say that we likely do work our way higher over time, back up into the $5.5 region. Let's see what else we got. Mr. Ripple Me Nipples, again, not taking it well. Not taking it well, man. I do think that this one does bounce here. So you're seeing like the weaker ones just trying to bounce off their lows, while the stronger ones are making new highs. They're making new runs. I do think that Mr. Ripple Nipples does try to rally a little bit here. We already tested the 21 and got rejected from that, though. Weekly is bearish as well. I just have a very difficult time being bearish in this area, like taking a trade. Not that I even trade this to begin with, just because it's so resilient around this 20.5 cent region. The thing is, this is a bearish formation. We are in a descending triangle. This is overall just lower highs and lower lows, downtrend. But until we actually break this 28.5 cent region, which is taken, it's rallied off it so many times, so be careful with it. I wouldn't be taking any major trades to the downside, targeting like 24 to 25 cents. Monero Cash, what's Monero doing? Monero, one of the, got rejected as well. All right, so not one of the stronger ones. I do think that this one does try to bounce back up and test $70 though. I think that this one's going to be given a shot. It is one. I'd say it's a little bit on the stronger side, but definitely not a tier 1 chart right now, I'd say. What about lower time frames? Yeah, 4 hour probably wants to bounce up a little bit higher, maybe like 70 and a quarter. Stellar. What's Stellar doing? Lower time frames want to bounce back up. I'd say target somewhere right around $9.50. Higher time frames, daily. Wow, bearish again. One of the worser charts. Bouncing off the 200 exponential moving average right here. So I do like that at 8.8 cent. But Jesus Christ, man, that is fucking brutal. I mean, this is why I don't like being bearish in this region, just because, you should really be buying on the first pass. And we are going to bounce here, but, 9.5 cent target, I guess, is okay. Maybe 10 cents for this thing gets a little bit more crazy. It's kind of due for a bounce, but, overall, this is a bearish chart. It's just, I don't really take the next bearish trade until we actually break this area and close a weekly dildo below it. Then we can start targeting some really nasty targets like, 4 cents to 4.5 cents. That's where it gets really nasty. Okay, let's go check out traditional market SPY. Yes, we hit the target, baby. We've hit. Oh, nice. Actually getting SPY right this week. Good. Okay, so SPY came first down to our 286 target, bounced off there, rejected on our trend line. Beautiful, 289, and then opened down yesterday. Fucking beautiful, man. Then bounced off our 283 target. There you go, SPY. There you go. And I do think that we bounce up, and we probably do close the week out, maybe back around 289. SPY is a fucking game, man. Hey, if you're gonna play traditional markets, yes, you do have to watch SPY just for overall market direction. But I would not trade SPY. It's very difficult. It's extremely difficult. Trade something like Microsoft. Fucking easy. No, there's nothing easy, but I found it to be a little bit more easy. Anyways, yeah, I do think that we continue on the bounce a little bit more today, but overall, longer term, damage has been a little bit done. Weekly does not look too healthy right here. It does look too healthy right here. Now, if the weekly were to close below 286, then I would actually be bearish for move down to 281 even. But for now, I do think that, targets have been met and it's time to bounce now. Okay, and I think that does it for all of the cryptos. Let's go back on to Mr. Bitcoin. Yeah, Mr. Bitcoin looking strong here. Looking like we will close this next hourly above this. I already did check out my position on my other screen, and I will be likely repositioning higher is what I'm thinking. So again, risking a little bit to try out a position. That's okay. And now the waiting game begins once again. So like I said, this is the, like I said, I don't really have like a specific like dollar to the dollar target. I'd say it's anywhere between 63 and 64.50 is where I really don't want to be holding positions anymore. Like I said, I've gone pretty much fully cash on my accounts, and no, I don't mean that by like going back into my bank account, but you know what I mean, by shorting futures against it. So that's essentially what I'm doing right now. I might try out another short if we do break back down below. Where's this area right here? If we break that back down below maybe 62.50 for a little bit of a scalp, but overall, I do think that regardless of what's going to happen, it's going to take a little bit of time. Bitcoin is likely to grind out its next high rather than just like have a spike in and then immediate sell off. I think it's likely to spend a little bit of time in there. So as people distribute. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for now. Overall, Bitcoin kind of in a more critical area. I would be saying that. I'd rather be defensive here rather than not, and I'll kind of leave you off with that one. I'll be back on later with some more live stream analysis. Looking forward to that. Let's see if we can actually find a camera in the meantime. That'd be great, so we can get my ugly rat face back on screen. And until then, I want to wish you a happy rest of your Friday, and see you soon.